Iran thought they had already won. 4 weeks into Operation Epic Fury, the most powerful navy in human history had launched over 8,000 combat flights, sunk over 120 Iranian naval vessels, and destroyed 7,000 targets across Iran. And the Strait of Hormuz was still closed. 150 oil tankers sitting anchored outside the strait. 20% of the world's oil going nowhere. Iran's IRGC fast attack boats still racing through the water. Iran's Shahed drones still hunting commercial ships. 4 weeks of the most advanced naval air power on Earth, and the corridor was still locked shut. Then America sent a helicopter, a 40-year-old helicopter, and everything changed. Did a Cold War-era attack helicopter just accomplish in 4 minutes what 4 weeks of carrier air power could not? Stay with me, because the answer exposes something about this war that nobody expected. And once you understand it, you will understand exactly why Iran's strategy at Hormuz was always going to end exactly this way. First, you need to understand the problem the Navy could not solve, because it was not a lack of firepower. America had plenty of firepower. The problem was the shape of the threat. Iran did not try to block Hormuz with warships. They knew those would get sunk in hours. Instead, Iran sent swarms, hundreds of small, fast attack boats, 50-knot speedboats packed with explosives or armed with missiles, darting out of coves and inlets along the Iranian coastline, hitting a tanker and disappearing back into the rocks before any aircraft overhead could respond. Iran also sent one-way attack drones, cheap Shahed drones flying low over the water, hunting for anything with a hull. Remote-controlled explosive boats with no crew, no radar signature, almost impossible to detect until they were already alongside a tanker. Think about what you were trying to hit. A speedboat doing 50 knots weaving between rocks along a coastline. A drone flying 15 feet above the water with no radar return. These are not the targets that carrier aircraft were designed to destroy. An F-35 flying at 30,000 feet doing 1,200 miles per hour sees a fast attack boat for maybe 8 seconds before it has passed completely out of effective weapons range. By the time the pilot processes the target, confirms it is hostile and not a civilian vessel, and prepares to fire, the boat is already gone. 4 weeks of the most advanced strike aircraft on Earth and Iran's fast boat fleet was still operating. Not because American pilots were not skilled, because a supersonic stealth jet is the wrong tool for hunting a speedboat. You do not use a Formula One car to chase someone through a parking garage. You use a motorcycle. America sent the motorcycle, the AH-64E Apache Guardian attack helicopter. This is the aircraft that broke Iran's stranglehold on Hormuz, and the story of why is one of the most remarkable mismatches of weapon to mission in modern military history. Here is what makes the Apache perfect for exactly this problem. It flies at 150 miles per hour, slow enough to actually track a fast-moving boat on the water below. It flies at low altitude, treetop level, wave top level if needed, close enough that the pilot can visually identify exactly what he is looking at, confirm it is a hostile IRGC vessel and not a civilian fishing boat, and engage with precision. The Apache carries a 30mm chain gun that fires 625 rounds per minute. At that range, against a speedboat, the pilot does not miss. It also carries Hellfire missiles with a range of 5 miles, laser-guided to exactly where the pilot points them, and it carries Hydra rockets for lighter targets. One Apache can engage a fast attack boat, destroy it completely, and be repositioning for the next target inside of 4 minutes. From detection to destruction to repositioning. 4 minutes. The carrier jets were flying 30,000 feet overhead, doing the wrong job at the wrong altitude against the wrong targets. The Apache flew 50 feet above the water and did the right job in 4 minutes flat. But the Apache did not just hunt boats. It solved the second half of Iran's strategy simultaneously, the Shahed drones. Iran had been launching waves of cheap one-way attack drones across the strait, targeting tankers, targeting allied ships, targeting anything that tried to move through the corridor. These drones fly low, slow, and small. Radar systems struggle to track objects that size at that altitude against the clutter of the ocean surface below. High-altitude aircraft struggle to engage them because by the time you spot a drone from 30,000 feet and maneuver to engage it, you have already passed it. The Apache saw the drones coming from miles away, using its nose-mounted targeting system, the TADS, Target Acquisition and Designation Site, one of the most advanced optical and thermal targeting systems ever installed on a combat helicopter. It can detect a drone flying low over water in complete darkness from miles away. It locks, it tracks, it fires. Last November, before this war even started, a South Carolina Army National Guard Apache crew demonstrated exactly this capability in a live exercise. 1 Apache, 14 drone engagements, 13 kills in one session. That is a 93% kill rate against the exact same type of targets Iran was using to close Hormuz. The math was already solved before the Apache ever arrived at the strait. And here is the detail that Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth himself pointed out publicly that tells you everything about what the Apache's arrival meant. When you see slow, low-flying aircraft operating freely over a battlefield, there is only one explanation. The enemy has no meaningful air defenses left. You do not send a helicopter flying at 150 miles per hour at low altitude into airspace where surface-to-air missiles are still active. You send it when the airspace is clean, when the radars are gone, when the missile batteries are destroyed, when the enemy cannot look up without dying. The Apache's presence over the Strait of Hormuz was not just a weapons system arriving to do a job. It was proof of a fact. Iran's air defense network was gone. 4 weeks of carrier strikes, Growler jamming, F-35 deep penetration missions, and 5,000-pound bunker-busting bombs had cleared the sky completely. The Apache could fly freely because America had already won the air war. Now it was time to win the water war. The results were immediate. A-10 Warthogs hunting fast attack boats from low altitude while Apaches covered the drone threat simultaneously. CENTCOM released footage within 24 hours of the Apache deployment, showing Iranian naval assets being destroyed in the strait one after another. Defense Secretary Hegseth reported that over 150 Iranian Navy vessels had been sunk or damaged since the war began. The IRGC fast boat fleet that had terrorized commercial shipping for 4 weeks was now being systematically eliminated every time it appeared on the water. Iran had built a strategy around the assumption that their small, fast, asymmetric threats were too difficult for conventional American air power to engage effectively. That assumption was correct against F-35s at 30,000 feet. It was completely wrong against an Apache at 50 feet. Now understand what this moment actually means strategically. Iran designed their entire Hormuz strategy around a specific calculation. Big, expensive American weapons cannot hit small, cheap Iranian threats cost-effectively. An F-35 costs $100 million. A Hellfire missile costs $115,000. A Shahed drone costs $20,000. An IRGC speedboat costs less than a luxury car. Iran believed they could bleed America economically by forcing the most expensive military in history to spend millions killing targets that cost thousands. It was a smart calculation. It was working for 4 weeks. The Apache broke the equation completely. An Apache costs $35 million, much less than an F-35. It carries Hellfire missiles at $115,000 each, but also carries a 30mm chain gun where the ammunition costs pennies per round. Destroying a speedboat with a burst from the chain gun costs America almost nothing. Iran spent years building a fleet of fast attack boats to bleed America's wallet. America sent a helicopter that destroys those boats with ammunition that costs less than a tank of gas. The economic calculation Iran built their strategy around collapsed the moment the Apache appeared over the strait. This is the part that Iran never prepared for. They war-gamed against carriers. They war-gamed against F-35s. They built missile batteries to shoot down high-altitude jets. They built drone swarms to overwhelm expensive naval defenses. They spent 40 years preparing for the fight America fought in every previous conflict. America showed up to Hormuz in 2026 with the right tool for the right problem. Not the most expensive tool, not the most advanced tool, the right tool. A 40-year-old helicopter flying 50 feet above the water, doing in 4 minutes what 4 weeks of carrier aviation could not. Only one military on Earth has the depth to look at a problem, identify that its most expensive assets are the wrong answer, and reach for something completely different without losing a single step. Any other military would have kept throwing the same aircraft at the same problem, hoping for different results. America looked at 4 weeks of carrier aviation not solving the fast boat problem and said, we need a motorcycle, not a Formula One car. And then they sent the motorcycle. The Apache crews flying low over the Strait of Hormuz right now are not flying the most glamorous mission of this war. They are not dropping bunker busters on nuclear facilities. They are not conducting stealth penetration raids deep into Iranian airspace. They are flying 50 feet above the water hunting speedboats and shooting down cheap drones. Unglamorous, dirty, exactly the kind of work that does not make headlines. And they are doing it with the same professionalism and precision that American warriors bring to every mission, regardless of how visible or invisible the cameras are. Iran built a wall at the water. America sent a helicopter to knock it down one boat at a time, and it is working. If you are proud of the Apache crews doing the unglamorous work that is quietly opening the Strait of Hormuz right now, type proud in the comments. Subscribe now, because we do not guess here. We engineer.
And the AH-64 attack helicopter is absolutely dominating Iran's southern flank right now from the US and from partner nations like the United Arab Emirates. Teamed up with the A-10, it's kind of like that lethal duo up there. To me, it's like Batman and Batman. These legends are flying low and aggressive along the Persian Gulf coast and the Straits of Hormuz.
Not just a 50-year-old plane, is something beloved by ground troops, firing nearly 4,000 rounds a minute of highly depleted uranium, probably the only uranium that the Trump administration wants to see in Iran, attacking the small boats associated with Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps. AH-64 Apache gunships also getting in on the action.
Hi, I'm Admiral Brad Cooper, Commander of U.S. Central Command, here with my 5th update on Operation Epic Fury. We're in the 4th week of the campaign and remain on plan or ahead of plan in achieving very clear military objectives for eliminating Iran's ability to project power in meaningful ways outside its borders.
Iran's Revolutionary Guard is sending radio transmissions to ships warning them that, quote, no ship is allowed to pass the Strait of Hormuz. That's according to the EU's naval mission, whose operations aim to protect international shipping from attacks. The Strait of Hormuz is a vital export route for the Gulf's biggest oil producers, including Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Around 20% of the world's crude oil flows through it. Experts have warned that even a limited disruption could spike energy prices and fuel inflation.